You want a chair? Would you like to see? Oh, I like it.
All right. How's it going, everybody?
Great.
I know you guys ate lunch, and after lunch, what happens? Y'all get sleepy. So I won't keep you too long, but I thought it'd be super important to kind of go over this mindset, which we just talked about, and how important mindset is in the current culture of real estate. Quick disclosure, whatever. I'm gonna tell my story today, and when I start talking about my story, this happens. I get super emotional. So, yes, I appreciate that.
We'll be emotional with you.
I appreciate that too. You know, what happened was I have 3 little girls at home, 7, 4, and 18 months. They turned me into a big baby. I really truly think that would really happen.
The girl dad thing.
It is a girl dad thing. But no, what turned me into a big baby was I almost died in 2020. I should not be here. I should not be able to be talking to you today. Truth be told, I should have died. I had a kidney transplant in 2020. And before I kind of dive into that, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. So I'm born and raised in Lancaster County, been there my entire life, never left. I actually have a background in criminal justice. So I went to school for criminal justice. It was 2008, 2009 when the economy shifted. I was going to be a police officer, but instead I actually got hired on the street here. I did nuclear security at Fremont Island for about 5 years. And during that process, I actually discovered that I had kidney disease. I was in my mid-20s. I had no idea. We carried 40 pounds of gear. We switched from night shift to day shift. But every year I had to get a physical. And when I went down for my physical, the 5th year there, my blood pressure was through the roof to the point where the doctor came in 3 times and rechecked it because he's like, there's no way a mid-25-year-old has a blood pressure of 210 over 120.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So long story short there, I got discharged, sent home, disarmed, can't come back until I get a doctor note saying I can come back. Well, that doctor note never came because I actually had kidney disease. Nobody in my family has it. It was kind of came out of nowhere. I actually have an autoimmune disease that caused the kidney disease. So when I got disarmed, sent home, went to the doctor, got blood work done. They literally called me the next day. Hey, you got to come back. You got to pee in a jug for 24 hours. What 20-some-year-old wants to pee in a jug for 24 hours? It's a little awkward, but hey, we did it. I was leaking a lot of protein, a lot of blood, and the next step was getting a biopsy. I had to get a biopsy of my kidney and found out that I was already in stage 3 of chronic kidney disease. There's no cure for my disease. I have something called IgA, and what happens is everybody gets sick, right? And when you get sick, your body produces my body produces abnormal antibodies. Healthy bodies produce good antibodies that fight the sickness. Mine does not. My antibodies try to kill me. My antibodies still try to kill me. Even after my transplant, that's what they do, which is why I'm on anti-rejection medicine the rest of my life. So I was diagnosed with that. There's no cure. Couldn't go back to security anymore. Couldn't do that line of work. So fast forward a couple years after that, I got into real estate. I've been in real estate now for, I don't know, 7.5 years. Through the process of getting into real estate, I actually met my kidney donor, which is pretty unbelievable. There's so many people in this world that need a kidney, and it's kind of crazy. Kidney disease is just running rampant through the United States, and for the most part, they don't know why. But the chances of you finding a match fairly quickly is really slim. I actually, after working at TMI, I got a customer service job at a company in Lancaster, Clark Associates, just kind of like an interim job of, I was in my mid-20s, and for the first time in my life, I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with my life? All I knew was the criminal justice world. It's what I wanted to do since I was a kid. So I did that, and for the first time in my entire life, I got let go from a job. And it was the biggest blessing in disguise because it led me into real estate. It led me to changing my life. It also led me to meeting my kidney donor. So in 2020, I actually was in a car accident, and for the most part, my kidneys were stable. At that point, I was only going to my kidney doctor, maybe like once a year kind of thing. And, you know, I'm in my later 20s at that point. It's still kind of like, I don't really want to go to the doctor. I'm here to tell you, if you're ever feeling off, go to the doctor, because you never know. So I was in a car accident. I was okay. I was getting rehab on my shoulder. I had to get to the point where they wanted to inject a dye into your shoulder or get an MRI, see what's going on, see if it's torn. At that point, I had to call my doctor, get clearance to get the dye. And at the end, I'm sorry, this is the end of 2019, they get my blood work back and I was on the brink of kidney failure. Had no clue, didn't even know. This was 3 months before my second daughter was born. At the start of 2020, I was in complete kidney failure. 1 month after my second daughter was born, I was in the hospital for a month, and that's when I should have died. When your kidneys don't work anymore, your body starts shutting down because your kidneys go hand in hand with all of your organs, everything that goes on in your body. The toxin buildup was to the point where it was so high. I still see my doctor. Matter of fact, I just helped my doctor's parents buy a $1.5 million house. That's exciting, right? Build the relationships, right? Yes, yes. I saw him recently and every time I see him, he has to remind me, you still hold the record for the highest creatinine level as measures the kidney toxins for the person who I've actually had a conversation with because everybody else has been dead. Reminds me of that, but I'm glad he does because I have a complete different outlook on life because of everything that I've been through. Like I said, I went into complete kidney failure a month after my second daughter was born. I literally was doing 22 hours out of the 24 hours of emergency dialysis to try to get the toxin level down. I was in the hospital. There was times where I didn't even, people came to see me. I had no idea. When your kidneys shut down, literally everything starts shutting down. Sitting in a chair like we're all doing here today was difficult for me. I would cry because my body was so worn out, I couldn't even hold it up. My own body. And I played sports my whole life. I've always been active. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't even sit in a chair. That's how bad it was. Miraculously, a week before the COVID lockdowns, I was discharged from the hospital because dialysis started to work. Thank God, because with COVID patients coming in, I definitely wouldn't be here today. So through this entire process, I had a ton of people in the community coming up to me, praying for me, wanting to do things for my family. I had people sending in applications to try to donate a kidney. The hospital would call me, Matt, you're overwhelming our system. We've never had this many people try to donate a kidney to somebody. Truly, truly amazing. But I had one person in particular that came up to me, and he probably was like the 50th person at this point, which is a huge blessing in itself. He said, Matt, I don't know my blood type. I haven't been to the doctor in forever, but the Holy Spirit literally told me that I'm your kidney donor. And let me tell you, 9 months later, he gave me a kidney. Oh, he was my kidney donor. Fortunate, I was only on dialysis for 9 months. I know people that were on way longer than I have, and dialysis is awful. Talk about it helps, it's a band-aid, it gets you through, helps me function in life, but I'm still getting sick every day. My muscles are cramping every day. I'm not sleeping at all. My body's still shutting down. I'm still in a lot of pain at that time. And that's, I was like that for 9+ months. It was awful, but I had my best year in real estate that year. Kind of mind-blowing. I decided very early on from I call him my life coach. He's actually another realtor, just a really good guy. He used to be a pastor. And he said, Matt, with your personality, you have to share your story with people. I came from a very broken family. So not only is my story just my kidneys, my dad used to beat the crap out of me. I went through a divorce when I was young. I had this kidney stuff going on. Just a lot of things that have happened in my life I'm 35, still very young, that have happened. But all of those things that happened in my life, including the kidney stuff, it got me to where I am today. I wake up every single day and I choose to put a smile on my face. And I think everybody in the world that we're in right now has to do that. Everybody has a choice every single day to wake up and be the light for those people that really need it the most. There's so much noise going on in the real estate world right now, right? Who raise your hand if you're really concerned about all this commission lawsuit stuff that's going on? Nobody's gonna raise their hand. I don't believe anybody here. It's a concern, right? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. We have an opportunity to wake up every single day, and we don't have to go show these houses. We don't have to help our clients. We get to do these things. I get to wake up every single day and go help my client, go serve my community, go do all of these things that we do every single day in and out as realtors that most people quite frankly don't get to do, right? Our job is pretty cool. We make a lot of money and we get to serve so many people and put smiles on people's faces. And for the most part, everybody's happy. for the most part, at settlement table, everybody's happy. And us as realtors, we all feel good about that, right? We feel good when we're sitting at the table with a hard deal and it all came together. And to me, it's amazing. I don't take life for granted. I don't take myself seriously anymore. There's so many things in life that just don't matter. When you come that close to dying like I did, it really does change you and shapes you to be who you can really be. And I don't wish harm on anybody. I don't wish people go through hard times in life, but I truly believe that those hard times in life is what gets us to the next level. We're about ready to face a hard time in our career in the real estate world, but if you guys can just hang on and go for the ride, I promise you, it's gonna make you better agents. And our industry as a whole is gonna become so much better. That's what I got. What questions, does anybody have any questions about my journey, my story? Any?
Go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been quite the journey. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come here today and just giving you that a little bit of motivation, a little bit of mindset shift. If we could change our mindset and really focus on the good, the positives, because I tell you, I was down. I was at the lowest part of my entire life at a very young age, but it truly has shaped me to be who I am today. The one thing I left out is my kidney donor. His wife and I actually are business partners now. About a year after the kidney transplant, which was 3 years ago. We had our 1 year anniversary lunch together, and she kind of brought up the idea of, hey, you want to start a real estate business together? I was like, no, not really.
They were coming into your life whether you liked it.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, I had no idea this was the journey it was gonna take us on. I've branded myself, if you don't know who I am the bearded realtor. A lot of people, pretty much everybody in Lancaster County, and even out this way, know me as the bearded realtor. I'm all over social media. That's kind of what I've done in my business to really help my business grow. I started as a solo agent, handful of years ago, almost 7 years ago, and now I run a small team. Our team does just under 30 million in sales every year. Our big focus is being that light for the community, putting a smile on our faces for people and doing things the right way, doing by people the way people deserve to be, right? And that's our goal. But it's taken some of these trials and tribulations that I've been through to get me to where I haven't always been like this. I haven't always been like the happy guy. People would come up to me in the hospital, come to visit me, and they're like, dude, you're dying. Why do you have a smile on your face right now? Because I'm still alive, 6 feet above the ground. Every day that I'm still alive is a good day. And I'm getting to the point now where my kidneys have been going good. Everything's been going well, but I do have to get a biopsy probably next month. We're having a little hiccup here, but it's not a big deal. We'll get through it. It's just
How much weight did you lose, Matthew?
I lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
I lost 60 pounds since the beginning of the year.
Wow.
I've just been really focusing on eating healthy, exercising, and just having that routine in the mind space of, I have 3 little girls at home. And I want to be here. I'm already at a disadvantage. I have a kidney disease that there's no cure. The transplant is getting me to that next level of, I'm still alive, and I'm doing well for the most part. I mean, I get to literally go to the gym, work out, because in 2020, I couldn't do that. I was sitting in a chair just like this, crying because I couldn't hold my body up. And now I get to go to the gym. So for me, it's like, oh man, I'm feeling down, I'm tired. I just went from this county to that county to that county, driving buyers around, writing offers, we're not getting accepted. Doesn't matter. What other career can you get paid a lot of money to drive a buyer from that end of town to that end of town, to that end of town, then go home and get to go work out, go to the gym? There's people that have been through things that don't get to do that. And we're all super blessed to be able to do that. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? I like questions. I'm an open book too. You can ask me literally anything.
You said that you had your best year in real estate during how all that was going. Can you tell us a little bit about that part?
Yeah, I sure can. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
At that time, it was my best year. I did about 6 million in real estate. That was probably my 3rd year in real estate. I've always focused my business on growing relationships with people. I made it a point to get on social media. Everybody knows who I am, what I do, how I do it, and the person and the character of me. This is what you get. This is kind of dressed up for me. Normally I have shorts on, t-shirt, backwards hat, and this is just what I do. That's who I am and how I come, and that's, people love it, right? when I was going through my kidney stuff, I was really unsure of, should I share this? There was two things. I could share my story with people, put it on social media, talk about it, and people would be maybe motivated, maybe inspired. I don't know. I didn't really know. I was just like, well, here we go. On the other hand, what if I start sharing my story with people and then people feel bad for me, they don't want to inconvenience me, so that now they're not gonna use me to sell real estate. So that those two thoughts went through my head. Ultimately decided to share my story with people, and I think really what happened was I had so much help and support from the community, not only my local community, but realtors that weren't even at my brokerage. I had realtors all the time. Hey, Matt, if you need help with the showing, we got you. My team has you. You don't have to pay us anything. Half the time I still did because that's just the person I am. I'm also the type of person I struggle a lot with allowing people to help me. You know, I went through a really rough childhood. I had to move out right away. You know, when I had the opportunity to get out of my parents' house, I was out and I never looked back. So it also caused me to grow up a little bit quicker. So for me, it was always difficult when somebody said, hey, I want to do something for you. Well, I had people come and mow my lawn. I had people come and mulch. I had people bring in food, all this stuff. Well, it was the same in real estate. I had people that were very willing to help me. And I really leaned into that. And it's because of the relationships that I was able to build along the way. I think it's super important as realtors to build relationships, not only with our clients in our sphere, but with other realtors. You can sometimes get your deals and offers accepted. It might not be the best offer in the world, but who you are as a realtor and as a person, that might get it done, right? So that's kind of what I focused on the first several years in real estate, just really building relationship with not only the people around me, my sphere and people that I used to know, but also real estate agents. And when I was in that time of need, they really rallied around me like I've never seen before. It's such a humbling, I never want to go through it again. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to. I'm probably gonna, unless they find a cure, probably gonna need another transplant at some point in my life. I've come to accept it. It's hard sometimes, especially because I have 3 little girls at home. So, you know, sometimes it gets you emotional because there was a time when I'm laying in a hospital bed and I had 2 kids at the time. Am I gonna be able to be at their wedding? Am I gonna live long enough to be able to help the people that I've set out to help in real estate? There's so many things that go through your mind. But the people that really surrounded me because of like those relationships I built really helped me still succeed. And I think also by sharing my story, not being afraid to put yourself out there, be vulnerable, right? We have social media. It's a necessary evil, really. Social media can do some really good things for our business. And that's what it's done for me. It's not being afraid to be vulnerable, not being afraid to share your story, not being afraid to let people know who you truly are outside of just real estate. That really can motivate people. And then they want to work with you. They want to work with you because they see who you are as a person. And that's what helped me at that time.
How did your experiences, even, during childhood and then with your illness, impact your faith journey?
Yeah, so I was born Catholic, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic church with my parents. It was interesting. Church for me was always tough because my dad was very abusive, very mean, angry person. But when we went to church, it was completely different. There's people that I've actually been being in real estate. I've been able to reconnect with a lot of people from my past life. And I just saw somebody that used to go to my church and we were having a conversation. He was asking me about my story. And I told him, I was like, you didn't know this, but my dad actually used to be very abusive. I had no idea. So church was always tough for me. Faith was always tough for me until I kind of got a little older. And during that time specifically, the craziest thing happened to me. So my wife and I go to a non-denominational church. I'm in Lancaster, the Effort area. I don't know if you've ever heard of Effort Community Church, non-denominational church. And I was just kind of getting back into it. My wife and I were getting back into it. My kind of life coach, he's the one who got me there. And I remember very vividly, we're sitting in church one day, and at the very end, when music started playing, the pastor usually comes up, says a couple things, right? And he kind of like stopped everything that was going on. He said, there's somebody in here that's ready to give their life to Jesus. If that's you, put your hand in here. Literally uncontrollably, my hand goes up. And if people that know me, like that would never happen. Like I'm the guy that sits in church. I'm looking around at people. I'm a people watcher. I'm seeing some of the things people are doing. They're very moved by the Holy Spirit, and that's great. I love that. I'm just that person that watches that stuff. And it actually happened to me. And I had uncontrollably, it happened. And in that moment, when it was a little bit before I was in kidney failure, I was like going through the motions. I left out that I actually was doing chemo for several months. So I started chemo at the end of 19, October, it stopped in January. That March was when I was in the hospital with complete kidney failure. They actually use Cytoxin chemo drug to kill your immune system, so your immune system doesn't kill you. It's kind of bizarre how that all works out. It didn't work for me at all. So it's unfortunate. Thank God I didn't lose my beard. I started to. I was still have a patch underneath that didn't come back, but thank God I didn't. But in that moment, I literally said to the Lord, I'm gonna stop worrying about what's gonna happen with my kidneys. I'm now giving it to you, and whatever it is that you want to do with it is yours. 3 weeks later, I went a complete kidney failure. I'm like, thanks, man. But truly, it's okay because all of these things happen afterward. My business, now I have a business partner, we're having a really good business and we come together with both of our minds. We're both very similar people and we're doing some really cool things for our community. We're giving back to a lot of people, which is really, really special to me. So, I wear kind of my life on my sleeve. This is the battle between heaven and hell. And this is my entire life. My whole life has been a battle between good and evil. And it's really shaped me, like I said before, to who I am today. I wake up every single day. I choose to put a smile on my face. Doesn't matter what happened the day before. Doesn't matter what's happening in life, what's happening with the deal, what's happening with your dog, what's happening with your family. It doesn't matter. The next day, I start with a smile on my face. Don't always end with a smile on my face, but I at least put a smile on my face.
I was gonna ask what your morning routine was like,
Yeah, well, I have 3 little kids at home, so.
as far as just mindset.
My morning routine's rough.
Yeah.
My morning routine, my mindset really starts after I drop my kids off. So I typically take 2 of my daughters to school. We call it school. It's really a learning center. My wife works for a company called Clark Associates, which is where I met her. So it's another good thing when I couldn't do the TMI stuff anymore because of my kidney disease. That's actually how I met my wife, and here we are. So there are some good things that came about this. Once I drop them off, I usually put some sort of podcast on in the car. My car time, I live in East Earl. Does everybody know where Shady Maple is?
Yeah.
I live like a minute.
Oh,
So-
wow.
That's being.
You know, you would think it is. I think living there, it's not. If you don't live there, it probably would be. I'm kind of in that area my whole life, so it's like, eh. And also when I go to the grocery store on a Saturday and I see the lines around the building and all these tour buses, I'm like, oh, good. Yeah. So yeah, I typically, I go from East Earl to Mount Joy. My business partner and I have our own office in Mount Joy, and it's like a 40-minute drive. So I get ready at that time. I kind of tune life out, except for the road. And I usually find some sort of song, some sort of podcast, something that also motivates me. You know, I listen to all these different, I could name a whole bunch of them, but I listen to a lot of stuff. A lot of it's also business related. Because I do have that criminal justice background, working at TMI was very paramilitary. I was going to join the military, broken ankle, I played football, so I actually snapped my ankle, couldn't do that anymore. So I like to listen and watch a lot of books about military stuff. Dave Goggins, Brigadier Dave Goggins, Marcus Luttrell, Lone Survivor Story. You know, when you go through something like I've gone through, but then you step over here and you see what they've gone through, it makes my story seem like peanuts compared to theirs, but that stuff also motivates me. Listening to other people's story and the trials and tribulations and trauma that they've gone through really keeps me in check, right? Because I went through something, starting to become further away. So I try to remember those hard times that I went through. And I do that by listening to other people's stories of what they've been through. It just keeps reminding me, hey man, you're lucky to be here. You get a second chance of life. Don't waste it. Yeah. Yeah. What else? What other question you guys have?
Have you been able to make amends with your family?
My dad? No. Yeah. I didn't think I'd cry because my dad's an asshole. My dad died a month before my kidney transplant.
Oh, wow. You got a lot out of your story, sir.
I did, yeah. It's always tough. So one thing you learn about me is I wing things. I don't plan anything. I don't,
You did great.
it's all up here. I just talk, and I can talk a lot. So, yeah, my dad, he literally didn't wake up. My transplant was September 17th. His 60th birthday would have been September 10th. Literally didn't wake up, went to bed, didn't wake up, which is also giving me a lot of motivation to stay healthy. My dad was just apparently had untreated, I don't know, I tried to make amends through the years. I did forgive him, so I did one day, I forgave him for all the things that he did.
You can go for it. I got a book for you.
fantastic. If it's a podcast or online, I don't read. Reading's hard.
But forgiving the things you can't forget.
Yep.
Go for it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But have to,
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that?
have tissues, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very tough. You know, when I had kids, I wanted to make sure, like, I didn't want to be that guy that say, hey, sorry, you can't see your grandkids. So we set some boundaries, but things didn't change. He didn't change who he was. And that was really hard for me because I've changed who I was.
Right.
You know, I like to consider myself an overall good person, and my dad was not. So it was very hard. He tried a little bit, but there's a lot that happened that just, you know, actually after he died, we found out he was living a whole separate life, which was crazy. Yeah. And at that time, it didn't really matter to me because I was already so far removed. You know, I have a handful of siblings that were a little bit closer to that than I was. I think the problem was my dad and I were kind of similar people in the sense of we're both very strong-willed, stubborn, and you know, I don't like to say I'm always right, but I like to say I'm always right. So I think we kind of butt heads because of that. So my other siblings didn't really experience that. It was kind of bizarre. Like I wasn't a bad kid. I always wanted to be a police officer, so I had to, you know, take the high and narrow road and be straight on. So yeah, I don't know why my life was different compared to theirs, but we tried. It didn't work out. And unfortunately, he passed away. Yeah.
What about your mom?
Yeah, so that's a whole nother. So my parents actually divorced when I was 2. So I should have been blessed to have 4 parents and I had none. My stepdad used to also beat me. My mom just, you know, she just never tried. She was never a mom. I get emotional talking about my story. She gave me away. I was 2. Literally called my dad and said, it was myself and my brother. I have one biological brother. I have a half sister and a half brother. And there's some siblings with my stepdad. And yeah, she literally gave me away when I was 2. So that was always really hard, you know, growing up, knowing that. And then it was always like my mom would try to say, my dad's this, my dad would say, my mom's this. And as I got older, I realized they were both really bad people. And then my step parents were kind of the same, you know, kind of just like let it all happen. Yeah.
How do you
Yeah,
think you
so
turned out so good?
Right.
I have no idea. You know, I literally told myself all of these, I'm not mad at my dad for the things he did because again, it's an experience that I went through that taught me I'm not going to be that way with my kids. I'm not going to be that person. So in essence, it really did help me.
Yeah.
Because it taught me what I didn't want to be. And I think that can be important. There's a lot of people that would take that and go the wrong direction. I know that I've met people like that. But for me, I just said, nope, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna be better than that. You have to get the perspective. Yes, I'm a very optimistic person. Just in life in general, with people in general, very optimistic. I always look for the good. You know, I wanted to be a police officer because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to change and help the community. That was my calling in life. My calling was to protect people. When everybody else is running away from the gunfight, I was running to it because I have this, whatever, my wife will tell you, if I see a dog running loose on the street, I'll turn around and try to get the dog. And I've always been wired to help people. And that, I think that's just really helped. All that.
Well, and you are. I mean, you're living.
Yes.
You are.
So if somebody's curious about,
You know, helping out in some way in the giving donor, what does that look like?
Yeah, so you only need 1 kidney to live. I'm a living proof of that. I only have 1 kidney. Actually, I have 3. So fun fact, when you have a kidney transplant, unless there's another disease called PAD, and that's like cyst and stuff on your kidneys, they leave the old ones in and they just disconnect them, reroute all the plumbing, attach to the new kidney. It's kind of bizarre. Now you know. I actually get asked that question a lot. Oh, do you have 3 kidneys now? Well, technically, yes, but 2 of them don't work, only 1 of them works. So you only need 1 kidney. You can donate a kidney. If you're a healthy person, you can live with only 1 kidney. There's so many people that need kidney transplant. And the process for a donor, it's not that bad. Now, obviously, there's a big rigorous process, right? You go through blood work, and then you get your physical, and then you actually go to a psychiatrist. They actually really in-depth questions. My business partner and her husband gave me the kidney. They have 5 kids. they literally asked him, what if one of your 5 kids needs a kidney? Would you still consider donating a kidney now? Without hesitation, he said, absolutely. But for some people, my brother, I love my brother, I don't fault him for this at all. He was hesitant to try to donate a kidney to me for that same reason. He has 2 girls as well. And at the time, and still, we don't know if my disease that I have is hereditary or not. There's a chance that it might skip a generation, it could be a cluster. So we just don't really know. And at the time, my brother was kind of like, I just like, he was scared, he couldn't do it. If it happens again, he told me, he's like, I'll at least try this time, because he kind of feels bad. We kind of make him feel bad every once in a while. But yeah, if you want to donate a kidney, there's various ways to do it. You go online to the National Kidney Disease Foundation. There's that. I can even, if it's something that you would really want to consider, I have people in my life, Dave, especially my business partner, that can get you connected and kind of tell his story of the side of what donating looks like. It really is like a very small C-section cut. So that's kind of like what it does. And it's like a 2 to 5 week recovery period. You don't change, like it doesn't change your functionality whatsoever to donate a kidney. Like, there's nothing, you need to change your lifestyle, you have to go through a little recovery period, just like you have to have a C-section, same thing. But it's really that simple. It's not difficult at all. You can live with 1 kidney, nothing changes for a kidney donor with 1 kidney. So if anybody is curious and wants to think about it, or want to have any questions about it, you can definitely reach out to me. Brittany has my number.
Yeah,
You have my email. Feel free to share with anybody.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to share how to go about doing it. For sure. Stay motivated, tough market. I get it, I know, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's far worse things to worry about in life.
Well, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they have to wait until they hit some type of rock bottom before they get the perspective that you have.
Right.
And so just as team leader, my hope today was that at least one person can have that perspective shift without having to experience the ultimate pain and almost losing their life. Like, we don't have to wait till that point to say, you know what, I want to live my life to my greatest potential.
Yeah.
You can wake up tomorrow and say, today's the day.
Yep.
And just do it.
Absolutely. With so many things in life, like I said before, I hope nobody ever experiences a traumatic event like that to shift your mindset. I'm fortunate in a way that's happened to me because I'm living my everyday truth in my everyday life, and it's a blessing. It's great. There's not a lot of people in this world that get to do that. Unfortunately, so going through what I went through to get there, but hopefully I can be a little bit of a light for you guys and an inspiration that, like Brittany said, you can shift your mindset and start living a little bit more positive life. Stay away from all the energy that's out there that nobody needs. It's just making things worse.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. All right, guys, that's all we have. Get back to work.
Yeah.